Welcome, everyone. This is our regular monthly OPA call, and I'm Carolyn Whiteman. I live in the Florida Keys, and I'm honored to be here with fellow Presidential Master Coordinator Charlene Fike, and also another special guest. And this is our regular OPA call. And there are two special reasons for telling you what OPA is all about, if you may not realize that. OPA stands for Organic Products Associates, and that is an umbrella family name that was established by my mentors and sponsors, Mary and Barry Loomis, who are Rob's parents, and they established that with a vision that they created where early on in their career, early in the 1970s, they could see that the Shackley business under their family name, under the Loomis organization, was going to grow more generations than people would have a connection with who Loomis is. And so they wanted to have a family name that included all of the various cousins and relatives and so on, if you understand the genealogy of a Shackley business. So OPA stands for Organic Products Associates, and we are very honored to say, I think Rob said that we are certainly one of the handful of the largest and most profitable Shackley businesses. Last number I heard was that there were 10 master coordinatorships included. And Charlene Fike is actually kind of a cousin through my grandparents, I guess. So we do have a similar heritage, but Charlene has been a longtime friend in the business, is also one of the most highly respected and creative, fun people that I have been able to get to know and play with over the years. And she's also the current chairperson of the Masters Executive Committee. So we have been brainstorming quite a bit about two particular topics. And those two particular topics are profitability and professionalism. And the reasons those that are probably a challenge to you are things that sometimes we don't always look at. So let's start out and first of all talk about profitability. And the second reason that OPA is such a unique organization is because one of the things that the Loomises have always talked about is the value of retailing products. Retailing products not just because of having the profitability that can be available, so that a new person actually, who is a new member distributor, actually has a profit margin that they can use, so if they actually go out and market a product, they can actually create some revenue right away. There's a second and really, really important reason for that, and that is called leverage. Because the leverage of having retail allows us the opportunity to establish the conversation that we have with a person, to offer people membership as a privilege, so that when you think about it, when someone says, oh, you can have free membership, I wonder if they've actually thought about the fact that free membership is taking 15% out of your pocket every single time someone comes in. Now, that may not be a bad thing down the road, but the challenge of not having any leverage for having a person either at retail or being offered many of the various member options. The problem with that is if we have no leverage to say there is a privilege and a responsibility, then what happens is people just sign up at member price, and then they start complaining about, gee, I don't want to pay shipping. Gee, do I really have to do this? Gee, do I have to do that? And the fact is they've already gotten one of the prime benefits up front. So one of the reasons we like to talk about retail is because it's not just the pricing profits, and we'll talk about that, but it is because we want people to have some leverage and the opportunity to create and manage a conversation with people about how they are coming in. What are they looking for? Are they looking at a relationship with us as consumer customers? Are they looking at the possibility of creating an income? Would they like to refer people? Maybe they are cautious and thoughtful, as many people are more and more now. It takes a longer time to trust people. It takes a longer time to get through. We don't really know what's going on in the back of their minds. And I think, these are a bunch of, whatever kinds of people that have a pyramid scheme, and all they're doing is hyping and promoting products that are overpriced, and this is a Ponzi scheme, and it's illegal. We don't really know what's going on in people's minds. So when we first of all make the promotion to them that they should come in, sign up here, you can become a member. Oh, by the way, you can become a distributor. Oh, by the way, you can buy all these products at these reduced prices. Oh, by the way, then you can start selling products. I believe what we do is we not only cheapen our business, but we take away a professionalism, because what my objective is to create a long-term trusting relationship with anyone that I work with that values and honors them where they are, doing exactly what they want to do. If they want to create a master coordinatorship, I am jumping on board. If they just want to be left alone and introduce some products with enormous value and be able to be given concierge service, the opportunity to pick up and call someone real live person and not just someone who's in a telephone operating thing if you end up calling an 800 number. So we have the opportunity of being able to offer those things to people. So those are two of the different pieces of retail and profitability. So Charlene, would you add to that any comments and thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things about membership that if you jump into too quickly on membership, what ends up happening is that you don't guide the conversation. And I step back and I've looked at everything in my own group and my own processes and how I'm teaching somebody new to have a solid, profitable business. And this conversation we're having tonight, to me, is the key. And what I'm noticing is when I've gone to some of our leaders that have been involved in Shaklee for a while, they have a lot of people on their membership rolls. And my guess is that as you guys are on this call, that you probably look at your list and there's a lot of people. But when you look at it, if you've got 300 members and you're barely doing 3,000 PV, then there's something wrong in that those people aren't buying. So then what happens is there's a lot of people who bought maybe one time, because who doesn't want a free discount? Like, who doesn't? Like if you offer that, and that's the way we've been taught. It's like, well, let's just get them in the door because somebody else is going to take them if we don't. And it really comes out of a scarcity mentality, which goes against what Dr. Shaklee is all about, which is abundance. And so if we guide that conversation where you start with, here, let me tell you about my products, and you do collections and product packaging at retail, you're giving people the options of good, better, best. You're honoring them and whatever their pocketbook can sustain, and we teach people that. Then what I teach my people who don't want to do retail or that are afraid of doing retail is then just figure out what your member cost is and what that profit is, and if you want to, give it away in free product, because at least you can get PV from that. Or if you feel uncomfortable, you can say, well, I'll give you a 10% discount for buying. But I prefer you give a product, because then what happens is that you are in the position of a good guy. But if we follow, this is nothing to do with the company. But if you follow their lead, which is sponsor, 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 free member, free member, free member, what happens is that you're abdicating that conversation. And it isn't about, please hear me, this is, I believe in partnering with the home office. This is not an us and them conversation, but you have to understand what their needs are and what your distributor's needs are, and they're two different things. What their needs are is they want to know who's buying. And we'll get to that. Eventually, my job is to get them members, and I want solid customers that I am doing proper care and follow-up, because this is a business about timing. And sometimes people come in just because of the products they fall in love, and then they cross over to the business side. sometimes they're lifelong customers. I've had customers that have been with me because we well educated them that have been with me 36 years. I just had an order from one last week that I think has been with me 38 years since I started Shackley 38 years ago. So the whole point of guiding a conversation is guiding when you introduce membership, because what happened in my group, I started kind of digging into why people weren't doing good customer care. And some of it was they felt like they were bugging people. And I was like, well, tell me what is bugging about it when you've educated them, they've gone through member orientation, or, they've said they want to become a member. What's bugging about that? And then we realized oh, they happened to be Aunt whatever who showed up at some meeting. You gave them the discount. They were feeling sorry for you. They bought it. Now they're a member, but they're no longer buying. And so now you feel like you're bugging. So the very people who actually want to have good information, newsletters and all that, you then step back and start not wanting to honor the rest, your good customers, because you feel like you're bugging them on it's the 80-20 rule. Out of the 80% in that membership role that you just did it wrong. So out of that, I've stepped back and re-looked at everything and gotten to the spot of saying we've got to sharpen up the process of how we do this. So I'm encouraging anybody who starts in the business, they're not given another option. This is the entrance point. We start here. We have collections. We do packages. This is how we introduce. Can you stop that, Dougie? I'm on a call. This is how we introduce people into to our products, and this is how we introduce people to the business to take a look. And so when they say, yes, I want to build a business, this is how I get them to be profitable from the get-go, where as they're building that consumer base of people who actually are raving fans of Shackley's products and actually qualify to be a member because now they want to come to an orientation, or now they're willing to do something. And if they want all the gimmies like free shipping and all that, then we keep them on the concierge service. We do the follow-up with them directly, we do the drop ship directly and all of that, and handle them that way. So it's a different way to look at your business, but I think in this environment that we're in, it's much more professional.
Yeah, so well said, Charlene. And for those of you who are on the call that may have a heritage that goes back to knowing what Mary and Gary modeled for us, the reason that I tie profitability and professionalism together is I believe that it opens up for us different markets. Now, here's one of the considerations. There's so many of us, I believe, have been working with Richard Brooke on the 90 Days to Momentum and also the 4-year career, and having an understanding that there's a difference between direct selling and network marketing. Make no mistake about it. The development of a business organization and having the profitability of creating an asset income as a Shackley business owner, that's network marketing. But make no mistake also that we have such a unique and powerful product line that our products actually stand on their own, and they actually meet the market needs of very high-end elite products. I think sometimes we forget that. We buy into a conversation that goes, oh, our products are really expensive. But what we don't realize is that expensive, first of all, that's a relative term, and it's a perception. And I'm not going to quarrel with that if this is offensive to someone. But what I will say is that when we start opening ourselves up to the fact that we are an elite product line, we open ourselves up to such a broader group of people that we can work with. Because honestly, if all we're doing is trying to sell any products that we have at a lower and cheaper price, it's kind of like competing with all the people that are buying at, Target and Marshalls and so on, and try to get things cheaper, as opposed to the people that go into the higher end stores and are buying it at Nordstrom or Neiman Marcus, or are purchasing products online at a higher end. Granted, it's nice to have discounts, but we're not trying to scrape for the lowest price. What we're trying to do is honor the value of our product. And this is where profitability comes in. When we have this, it allows someone who comes in the business to actually create value out of the price that we're paying for things. So, Charlene, in a minute.
Carolyn, I want to add to that. Can I add to
please.
that? I think that I think it behooves all of us to do some homework. If those of you who happen to be at Vegas and you saw that little snippet that the home office did that taste test with our new protein and the competition protein, well, I asked what that price was. They don't want to say it because, you know, Shackley is Shackley. But they basically took a comparable product that sold for a lot more than ours does. But they just didn't bring that up in that video. And I think sometimes we forget to go shopping because we get used to things and we don't realize how expensive it is. Like a couple, I don't know, maybe a year ago or whatever, I happened to go to Whole Foods. I don't go very often, but I was there. And I was just kind of struck by just looking at the choices they have in their vitamin supplementation oil. I mean, it's huge. Or if you've gone to a health food store, you've seen that. And when you compare the top end of products that have comparable ingredient list to ours, then you'll see that we're really underpriced compared to what other people are paying for. In fact, I just had a conversation with somebody in our group who she was invited to come take a look and then now is doing her due diligence on Shackley. She did research and she's like, man, your products are on point. I want to be part of this. And then she was like, I looked at your stress and I realized I'm spending a lot more than that on that years. And all she's seeing is the retail so far. So I think we need to build our belief and do some homework that there's comparable products. Like even in youth, I did just recently I did a Google search to just try to figure out what are high-end serums selling for. And here, I'll read you the list. It's shocking. La Prairie is a French line sold at Neiman Marcus. One serum, $770. Revive Intensive, $285. I'm Fabulous Anti-Aging, $399. Dr. Barbara Strom, $350. I mean, the list goes on. Chanel, $240. Elizabeth Arden was one of the cheapest, $162 at Macy's. I mean, we're talking one serum, guys. When we sell our collections, we're selling them for 5 products. So I think we need to do our homework and believe this, that it's worth it. And then when we believe it, when we bring somebody in who's a new distributor, they just follow your lead and they go, oh, yeah, wow, that's a good value, because it all comes down to perception. And retail establishes that. Then when they're in membership pricing, they value it, for one, and then they're not complaining about what some of the hassles that go with it, like placing their order themselves instead of us helping them, paying for shipping, all that kind of stuff. That's just part of the privilege of a discount. It's like going to Costco. You pay your membership fee, and nobody's there bagging for you, and you're certainly not. It's all in a big cart that you're schlepping around, and nobody thinks anything of that to be able to get the discount. So, but you need to educate people about where the process goes. And so controlling this conversation where this is just normal, it will shift the conversation. I know that when one of my, they're pretty far down in my organization, and they're young moms, and they would say to me on the outside, yes, Charlene, we believe you. And on the inside, I knew by their behavior they didn't believe me. So I had a little come to Jesus meeting with them and just said, okay, guys, what's your problem? And they were all like, well, membership was important to us because that's how they got sponsored. So they were really like having a hard time because they felt like they were using their friends and all that. So we had a nice little conversation, and then that's when I said, I have a challenge for you. Give it away, but charge retail and give them a product and see what happens. Well, you know what's happened? That whole organization, which is one of the top, the leader in that organization has gone on 2 of the high achiever trips. So this isn't a small little feat here over the last couple of years. But so that whole group now, they're like the champions on retail because they saw that by just that simple framing it of just do it, establish the price, give away a product, give away something. And what it did is it built their belief and their courage. So now it's just assumed everybody does retail and they just do it and it's not a big deal. but it started out as a big deal. But it comes down to the education. So that's where, from my experience, that's where it's there. So I love having this conversation because I think it's one that we need to upgrade and skill up in this area in Shaklee.
So well said, Charlene. What I'd like to do is I'm going to come back in a minute to you, Charlene, and let's show some examples and then talk about what may be in the back of the minds of some of you who are hearing this about, yeah, but how do I do this? And, you know, when everybody signs in and says, you know, free membership and so on. I'm going to come back to that. But here's one thing that I'm going to suggest as kind of a caveat, and I hope that everyone can hear us. This, if you are currently doing something in your business, in your organization, with your leaders that is working for you, we have absolutely this is not something about telling anybody that what they're doing is wrong, they have to do it differently. Here's how I'm looking at it, because I have an existing established business. I am looking at it in that the purpose of my thinking and working this way, as we'll talk about with Charlene, is this is designed for me and anyone new that I am engaging in the business. So I actually become almost schizophrenic and wear two hats because I have an existing business organization, many of whom I have no interest in trying to change their conversation. They're not looking to build. They're simply enjoying purchasing it however they purchase. And I'm not going to change that. I have no interest in that. But what I'd like to do is offer this as a very fresh opening and opportunity for people to say, if I was starting my business now, 1st of September, which is what all of us are being challenged to do, is to reach out to the new people. This is not to the old people that have been around and you know, are happy doing what they're doing. But this is about people who are looking at creating a new business, a new 21st century network marketing business organization that enjoys profitability. When that becomes the conversation, then this is something to take a look at. So what I'd like to do, we're going to come back to Charlene with some examples of profitability and then show you one of the tools, which I just think is brilliant. But first, I'd like to bring in and see whether Jean is here, see whether we can hear her or not.
Yes, I'm here, Carolyn.
Oh, great. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to introduce Jean Ryan. Jean is also a fellow cousin in OPA, and I was very impressed with her story about looking at the Shaklee business. This is in the idea of professionalism. That's an extension of profitability. I was very impressed with what she said. Jean has been a nationally recognized attorney in sole practice for 4 decades or more. So this is not an unsubstantial and unworldly person. And she's actually focused on bankruptcy and as a bankruptcy attorney and working with not just being in the fix-it side, but also looking at being very proactive and looking to educate families, kids, young couples in how they can create their finances so that they don't get into the bankruptcy issues. Well, Jean, and I'm kind of half telling your story, but I want you to talk about where you're going. Jean has been a Shaklee consumer for 5 years. She does not yet have an active business, and she's making lots of transitions in her law practice. But here's what's important when we think about professionalism. What I invite us to do is think about who is there in your life, who is there in your circle, who are there people that are in your social circles network that fit this kind of profile. Because Jean says, look, I've been in sole practice all of these years, and now I'd like to not only make a change, but I'd like to build for my own retirement. Because all of the income that I've had in my law practice, yes, it's been nice and sustaining, but there's been lots of hassles and ups and downs and so on. And what I'd like to do is look at creating my business. Now, what is the big sticking point? The big sticking point for people that haven't been around Shaklee a little bit is, yeah, right, you're an attorney. What is this you're getting into some Ponzi scheme, you're getting into one of these pyramid deals where everybody gets in, nobody makes any money, you think you're gonna start at the top of the pyramid and build your retirement. Get serious, Gene. That is really dumb. And you know what? We buy into that conversation until we treat ourselves as professionals. So, Jean, how was that for an introduction for you to give a couple of minutes on what it is that you're doing and how you see your business differently?
That's pretty descriptive of a lot of things we've talked about, Carolyn. But one of the things that you guys are mentioning right now strikes really at home with me. Like Carolyn said, I've been a bankruptcy attorney for 40 years. And we had a couple of rules in my office. And one of the rules was we never filed a bankruptcy case after noon on a Friday. And I also never became too terribly friendly with my clients. Now, my staff could be as friendly as they wanted to, and they could help them out and everything like that, and they would talk to them about their stories. But I didn't do that. And the reason I didn't do that is because I found over a period of time that the people that I went out of the way for the most are the ones that became the most difficult clients. Because then they weren't it wasn't a professional relationship anymore. I was their friend. I was their buddy. I was going to make all these concessions for them. I was not going to expect them to pay their bills on time. I was not, if they had a problem with anything, all of a sudden they were calling me because of the shift in the relationship. So in order to keep my side of it to be more effective and more professional, I just didn't hear the stories. I heard what the financial issues are. We had discussions about how we were going to attempt to fix them, and we went from there, which in some ways has been a difficult transition with me in Shackley, because in Shackley it's all about personal relationships. And I had fought very hard during the 40 years of my career not to establish personal relationships. You know, it was one of the dragnet things, the facts, only the facts, ma'am, and let's get on with it. So that's what I saw. And as Carolyn said, I've actually been a Shackley user for about 30 years. When I first started using Shackley, I had gone to a doctor at the time. Although I was extremely thin in high school, during the process of law school and everything, I was over 300 and some odd pounds. My doctor told me that I was overweight, no kidding, and undernourished, and that she suggested that I take vitamins, but she also told me if you're not going to take Shackley, don't bother, because she had done the research. She thought that they were the purest and the most effective on the market, and that's what she told me to do, which is what I did. Fast forward many, many years after law school, I had gastric bypass surgery. And the doctor, when they did the surgery, said to me that he was surprised that as overweight as I was as healthy as I was, although I was pre-diabetic. And once again, after the surgery, that doctor and my other primary care physician recommended that I take vitamins because I was not digesting food as a normal person would because of the gastric bypass surgery. So I had been a Shackley drug user for a long, long time. And then this doctor passed away, and I had lost my connection with Shackley. Years later, I was at a dance studio, as luck would have it. I met Jan Hurley, and through Jan Hurley, I met Jeannie Weiss. And I once again got reconnected with Shackley, and that was about 5 years ago. But again, listening to others around me and listening to conversations and getting kind of mixed messages here and there, I wasn't real sure that this was right for me, but I kept coming back. First of all, I learned more about running a business from Shackley than I ever learned in law school or ever even learned in running my own law practice. And that was very intriguing to me. In addition to that, I love the concept of being on the preventative side of things rather than being reactive and trying to mitigate damages after the damage had already occurred. So these are the things that kept me coming back and kept me coming back and kept me coming back. And then the Richard Brooke series occurred, and of course in the middle of that was the global conference. And after all of this time and all of this input, and I travel back and forth to Miami a lot, so I listen to books on tape, everything seemed to gel, and I just made a decision. I made a decision that this is what I was going to do. This is what was going to fund my retirement, because I certainly hadn't put enough aside as a sole practitioner to fund my retirement. And this is what I was going to do. And I kept hearing in the back of my mind constantly Roland Osterhaus saying, you must make a decision. And I was speaking to Carolyn about this. It was funny that once I actually made a decision and actually started really looking at the dream plan and what it would take to get where I wanted to be, it started happening on its own. So from August 1st until today, I have had 5 independent people that I would have never really selected on my own contact me and not only tell me they wanted to order products, but that they wanted to do a business. And that was without any solicitation by me to them. And I really attribute it to them.
That's so exciting. And what I'm hearing is the piece about you yourself are a professional, the people that are in the market around you are professional, and that when we do not treat our business professionally, we tend to not open up a market for people. They can't see how they could participate.
That is correct. And during the entire time, during this transition, which I have spent the last several years trying to downsize my law firm, I've constantly got the tax write-off from the Shackley business. So it has been an ongoing benefit, even though I really haven't been working my business the way I need to.
Well, Jean, you're a wonderful example of the market that I believe we deservedly belong in. We have so much to contribute to, and this is how I bring our topics back to retail and professionalism. And I'd like to bring Charlene back. And Charlene, would you talk, maybe pull up what your new project is, how it's happened, and talk a little bit about the profitability and how you're inviting people to start the business and where it fits in with the leverage of being able to bring people in properly so that people like Jean and her many professional associates will be able to see the business as something that's not just one of those Ponzi schemes, but really is a professional business. So, Charlene, you want to take it on?
Sorry, I'm talking away and didn't realize I was muted. Can you hear me?
Yep, you're on.
Okay, good. All right. Sorry about that. I'm just going away. I want to reiterate the fact that Carolyn said this earlier, but I think it behooves us to hear it again, and that's that if you have a system that's working for you, please stay with it, only because jumping around too much, trying this and trying that, only defeats you. But I had a need as I and my team were going through the Richard Brooke training, started realizing that we had limited things to have people take a look at, and it was slowing down our duplication. And so everything was verbal or verbal invites to different things, but we didn't have effective pieces. So I decided to take a quick, something that I've been wanting to do is that we realized that when I have a new person who wants to build a business, there's kind of 2 things that you kind of have to help them in their skill set development. And one is that we've got to get them inviting people to come and take a look at the opportunity right away. That's what we're learning from Richard. And the strategy sessions that he's got with his strategy meeting, like who are the first 20 that you're going to talk to? Let's share this opportunity. So they've got to do that. But we also know that when people are inviting, not everybody fits the take a look at the business opportunity. You start that way, and maybe what they come back to you is say, I just want to try products, or I'm interested in the product side. Or some people, you know, it's easier to talk to them about the product side and then lead into the conversation with the opportunity. So we are in a both and business where it's not either or, it's both and you've got to teach people how to do that. So many of you, I think I've been on the OPA before and talked about the 5x5 and the 2-year process that we researched that whole way and what it did to our organization. And to this day, we still continue it. I mean, last week we had 14 new people on the reset. I didn't check today's who started, but I mean, so we have a regular, our group coordinates where we put in new people every Monday into this, and it has been a key pillar to the people who are growing their business and using that with that new distributor to have them come take a look, be on those products for 5 days, get results, and then start converting them into members if it makes sense for them to continue with continual use of the products. But we're also looking for those raving fans that could see themselves talking to 10 or 12 of their friends and making $1,000. So that's been a key pillar. But I also realized that, you know, there's 3 what I call my gateway drugs into Shackley. And so the 5-day program is one of them. And youth is another great one that got introduced last year as a new entrance point to have those initial conversations, so that as we're teaching people how to fish for people who want to partner with the business, but also are looking for people who want to try our products, youth is a great door opener. I don't think we're as effective in it yet as we could be, because it all comes to duplication. So our team really started working on sip and samples, but it was a lot of time and commitment to package samples and do it. But, you know, the ones that were doing it, we're getting 4 or 5 people at a time buying at the retail, and then you have the conversation to move them over to membership. So I'm a refiner. I test a lot of things, and if it's not working, my vantage point is if it's not working, figure out why and fix it. Like, let's pivot. Let's get this thing done. And then I realized in talking to some of my teammates that are talking to new people, and we're getting people enrolled, and we're having them take a look at stuff, that sometimes our best conversations are the environmental cleaning products that we have and having the green conversation. But a lot of us don't like to do that conversation because there's not much points in it and there's very little money in it. So I took a look, and we've been testing this since the summer, is let's make that a retail conversation. So we could totally change that and have been testing it with turning it into package collections, so that when someone comes, we do those presentations, that they can buy them a good, better, best, that's all based on retail. In fact, it's above Shackley's retail, and when I've done the work on even seeing what Amazon scum of the earth Shackley people who sell on Amazon against us, what they're charging, we're way below that with our product packaging and what we can deliver the customer. So we started testing that and got it. So that led me to realizing that in order for us to duplicate, we need a place that's easy to point people to, take a look, that tells the complete story, that's all right there if they cannot come to a live event. Obviously, live events are still important, but not everybody in this day and age will do it. Or they might live across the country. How are you going to get to them? So I needed a system that could help our team, and, you know, I don't really care about our team. I'll just say me, because I've got some new distributors, and I'm trying to get them launched. So that's where what Carolyn wants me to show you came out of, as a means of a way for them to take a look and to be totally self-disclosure. It's also so that I can guide that conversation, and I can teach my new business associates that are working with me how to guide that conversation that keeps them out of the ecosystem of Shackley for just a little bit. And it's not that I'm opposed to that ecosystem, but that ecosystem is for my members. It's not for my retail customers, because they get confused with all the messages of this offer and that special and that free shipping and buy and joy and all that. And I just want to keep them out of that conversation. I'm really testing to see whether or not they like our product and can grow into a raving fan, and that it makes sense for them to be a member. So that's what it was. And I'll have to have permission to share my screen, or do you want to set it up, Carolyn? Is there anything I was unclear on? Carolyn?
Yeah, sorry, I was muted too. I couldn't get back on my phone.
Okay.
I'm sorry. No.
Is there anything you want to flesh out?
No. And I think what we tell people is that you will show what it is that you have, and that they can actually go to your website. Yeah, and they can see the collections and the packages and so on. So you don't have to write all this down. You can just, go ahead and pick it up. And I'm sorry, I was muted and I couldn't get off.
No worries. No worries.
I'm here.
So this is a website that you can go to, and I apologize for those of you who are calling in. So if you want to see it, you go to thegreenlightinitiative.com. And the only reason I did that is because I wanted a fresh name other than Fike Enterprises, and a bunch of us are thinking about, it's me, because I have a whole strategy on the green light. I'm giving you the green light. It's like permission to keep moving out of if you're stuck at yellow, if you're stuck at red. So don't get too hung up on that. But this is what people that this is my take a look piece. So when people come here, this is the home screen that tells them a little bit about Shackley, what we believe in, etc. And then it takes them to 3 portals, which are what I talked about as the 3 gateways to Shackley. So let's say the home is one of the places. Then I'm going to do this so you can see it. But I will send them to this link here, thegreenlightinitiative.com/healthyhome, because I'm getting them to go to where I want them to go. So for those of you who are on the call, this says, we believe that home should be the safest place on earth, and then it sets it up with a conversation that I have with one of my directors that we go through like an in-home on the cleaning packages, and what we do is here's where we do our collections. So in the collections, we've got the laundry collection, which is $49.95 including shipping, the replace and save collection, which is $89.95 including shipping, and the complete collection, which is $139.95 including shipping. So I'll talk you through what those are so you can see them. So once they go through this, we go through all 3 of those products. We're doing it like we're doing an in-home, and we talk about, well, a good way for you to get started and why would they need to get started, and they'll go to the laundry collection, and you can see that what you get here is you get a 32-ounce laundry concentrate, you get the Nature Bright, you get the dryer sheets, you get a pump and a squeeze bottle, all at $49.95 including your shipping, which is rounding out the retail cost of Shackley's, and I factored everything like how much it costs you to ship it, and all that's factored in. So when somebody wants that, they can add it to the cart. But say they want to go to the replace and save collection, because people have been asking me what these are. This one, if you go here, it's got the basic H2, it's got the 3 16-ounce sprayers, you've got Scour Off, the hand soap, the dishwasher. We have both kinds of dishwashing, the one that goes in the dishwasher and one that goes at your sink. And then again, in the show, we talk about all of this and what you get and why that's such a good value. And then I won't show you the other one, but just because I don't want to go through everything, but the complete, because you guys can poke around by just going to thegreenlightinitiative.com. But the complete collection is $139.95, and that's when you add these 2 together, the laundry collection and the replace, that comes to $139.95, and we throw in a complimentary bottle of Basic G as our gift to you by deciding to go all over. So you can see we've got good, better, best. So that's that. And then you can see that we've got the other things. We've got the 5x5. So if I'm wanting to send somebody to get information on the reset and what that's all about, they can go here. And then again, we have a little video where we explain what the reset is and what's it about. This is where you would do that with your own team. And it's better if you do it with two people just because people get tired of hearing one person, I think. So then we talk about what the product is. They've got the downloadable brochure so they can read about it. And then they can just add this to the cart. And then in our program, in our show, we talk about added solutions if they're worried about that they have a salty cravings or they have a sweet tooth or if they drink a lot of caffeine and they need the energy boost. So we have all of these just added to the cart. So that's the 5x5. So if I need to have somebody take a look and they can't come to an event or whatever, they can do this. Now, what this site is really meant to be done is to be able to be mobile, to use it with mobile. So I prefer looking at it on my phone simply because most people are going to want to look at something on the phone. So it's a great way for somebody who's maybe sitting at a ball game watching either their grandkids or their kids at a game. You can have your earbuds on, listen to a program, and maybe add some products to your cart or, whatever. So it's really mobile friendly as well. So then we've got the last category is the skin. And this one's going to probably throw several of you off, but again, we did a lot of testing, and if you choose to, any of this I can make available to you. We'll talk about that in a second so that you can customize it for yourself. But we go through the youth, put together a little video on the science behind youth, and then we have some videos of testimonials so people can see some before and after pictures, and then it goes through all that, and then we've got the downloadable youth brochure, which is an excellent brochure, and then I've created a little film here on how do you get started with youth that goes through our good, better, best collection. Now, this
and incidentally, Charlene, your video is excellent. Your video is really excellent. It really tells the story of the products, and it also creates the value. You've done an excellent job with this.
Yeah, and so if that's useful to anybody can use that. But then I've still got some tweaks to do on this site because we just launched this last week for me, and I'm getting some feedback from some people that, I need to change this picture and some stuff that's more reflective of what it is. But the Hero Collection is, if you have noticed in Shackley's youth brochure, when they're explaining the two collections that we have now, the anti-aging and the hydration, they're calling those the Hero Collection. It's at the top banner, so that's why I'm calling it that. But it goes through step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then what they get and their choices. And we are choosing to sell this for $350, and I'll tell you why. Because if you do the Shackley retail plus the shipping, it comes to $303. And what we did in our testing is that we didn't find that there was a difference between people willing to spend $300 or $325 or $350, and $350 for their introduction with the way I set it up in the video, which is what I'm encouraging everybody to just use my video till you get as courageous about charging $350 for this collection because it's worth it. Use my video until you can make your own. But the $350, that way we're making it as profitable as possible for the person who gets started. So then the complete collection, which is more, might shock some of you, but again, it's testing fine. Whoops, sorry. This is not me going to the right spot. How did we go here? The other collection that we have is the complete collection, which we sell for $520, and that includes the 2 masks, which we sell individually for $75 for the 2, or the eye restoring treatment for $75. So this is our good collection, this is our better collection, and this is the best. And all this is that it is the 5-step products, the 4-step products with the 5 products with the 2 moisturizers, and then people can customize it with whatever serum they want. The Hero Collection, they can customize their moisturizers and their serum, but in the complete collection, they get both serums, both clays, and the choice of their moisturizers, their day moisturizers and their night moisturizers. And then because they buy this, they get a complimentary, it's included in the price obviously, but a complimentary eye cream. And so what's happened is that it is establishing the value of the complete collection, and people are kind of choosing between these two. And if money's an issue or they just want to try something, these are good products that give good results and get them married into the Shaklee way, and you can continue to maybe upsell them later. So those are the collections that I've come up to, and we'll probably in time add more. I'm working on sports, but I haven't tested good, better, best packages to know what that's there. And then sometimes you may want to have somebody come take a look at, you might want to have them come here and just say, well, why don't you just come and take a look at what the Shaklee difference is. So I had our daughter, who's a graphic designer, put all this together. And this is all on the Shaklee difference that you can send someone to with a video. It's got the landmark study. So again, it gets them in the door maybe to poke around the other sites. And then one last one, and then we'll close, is who we are. And this one is still a work in progress. I should get it done. Hopefully by this week I'll have more time to film. But this has got a little bit about us, and then I'm putting my story, my 2-minute story, as we've been hearing from Richard here. And then I'm putting together a new napkin presentation that is expanded, where it talks about how to build a career income. So that's where we go there. So what's great about how this works is that when a customer goes and puts something on the cart, this is connected directly to your bank account. And because it's connected to your bank account, you can get the money will come into your own bank account, and then you go and place the order and drop ship it to your customer. And I go all over that just like I do with the 5x5. So what I did was I needed this for me, and then Carolyn has been asking about it, and several other of my friends say, can I have this? So what I asked our daughter that would she be willing to do a tutorial course where people learn how to build this website for themselves. And so you would customize your own name up here if you wanted to use something like this. If this makes sense to you, then you can directly come up with your own website that looks like you, that's branded to you, but you can follow along like mine. But like if you feel uncomfortable with the price, you're in control. You can change whatever you want to do. This is your business. This is your come take a look piece. So it would be your company name or your own name up here. And then you can create the collections. But what Janelle has created in a course, which we can talk about how to get that if you want it, is a complete tutorial that takes you step by step by step. How do you use the templates and to create your own site that looks like this. And then she gives you all of the images so that you have the text font, you have all the images, like all these images that she's created. You can also, it's all there in the course. So I think the course is like $79, I think, I don't remember, covers her time for building this, and she literally talks you through each step that you need to be able to create your own shopping portal. And this is really why I needed this. I needed it as my shopping portal. I needed a place for people that I could send to learn more about why the Shaklee is different. And I needed them. I'm building my who I am, which is my take a look at the opportunity. I'll have that done by this week. But we had enough in store that I'm getting my team they're all building their own right now. So we've got our healthy home, we've got our skin, and we have our body. So you'll be able to learn all this if you want to build your own site like this. And I know that there are some people that look at it and say, I don't want to take the time. It takes you about anywhere from 4 hours or so to build your own. I mean, if you want to just concentrate on it, you can get it done in 2 to 3 hours if you have some computer knowledge. If you're learning how to move your mouse, then it's going to take you a little longer. But you can create, in a weekend, you could create your site if you stay focused to it. And if for some reason you just don't want to do that, on the course site, my daughter has a link and she'll build the site for you. And I think I don't remember, I think it's like $350, and then she can get it done for you in a day, and she whips it out for you. And for you to be able to buy a website like this, or have the skills to be able to build a website like this, would cost you a couple $1,000s. So what I'm interested in is, I did this for myself, and if it could help anybody develop their own retail site that you can send people to, then that's what it's there. But like I said before, if what's working for you is working, please, by all means, stick with what you got. This is really meant for us to go there. I know some of you may be asking if you've got a distributor, like I've got a new person that I'm working with, and I'm having them come to the site, and then I figure out when the order's coming. We're talking on a regular basis who's placing that order that they send to the site, and then I can give them the credit for the sale. But anybody in my group who's a director or above, or somebody who's serious, like I've got a new builder right now, but she's moving around 1,000 to 1,500 monthly. It won't take her long. She should be at director in a month or two, and so I'm encouraging her to get her own site and set up her own bank account so it's coming directly to her, because I'm building the muscles on that's what you're going to do as a director as above, because it's really meant for me and my distributors, and it's meant for me and my customers, people who I'm personally recruiting. This is my take a look piece, and it can keep me moving. Like, I'm getting ready to be gone for a little over about a month and a half in Italy. We leave next week, and that's why I'm pushing to get all this out, because I've got a long list of people who, while I'm gone, even though I'm there working with my husband on some of his projects, I can keep my Shackley business going, because I'm still in this 90-day run myself, where I have a lot more names that I want to follow up with the business opportunity, and then I can say to them, this is how you get your friends started in the business side, so that in the product side, and this is also where you have your own story, so that we can take a look at the opportunity, and then we can set up individual talking points with the person. But this will help me keep going, even though I'm going to be on the other side of the Atlantic. So this is meant for me and my lifestyle, because most of my friends will not come to an in-home meeting. Basically, I live in a city, and this is just the nature of the beast. We don't go into people's homes. We meet in hotels and restaurants. And so this gives me that opportunity to point people to where I want them to take a look at, whether that's the product side or opening the door for the follow-up conversations to see whether if they would like the business. Like, for example, just the other day I was on a Uber ride, and I met a really great person who's from Bangladesh, but he's a center of influence in his community. So I followed up with the Why Shackley piece for him to look at, and told him that the Who We Are site, I had some other things that I sent him of other videos that I had recorded, and I had recorded a little message that if you're on the 90-day run, you see what I send to an Uber driver. So I was guiding him as to what will do, and I'll be following up with him this week. So this is why I have to get this done, because I need it, because I'm talking to more people, and I want to duplicate faster. So that's kind of where that started. So I think that's all to show. Maybe we can, I think I kept seeing that there's something with, maybe Scott, if you take this over again, I think I saw some chats jumping up, and I don't know what that's all about.
Well, Charlene, I absolutely love this. And it actually was not as developed as it is now when we developed the topic for this call, talking about profitability and professionalism. But it's such a wonderful opening for us to create connections in different communities that allow us to bring them into the traditions that we have of Shackley. But some people are not ready to just be brought in to become members and distributors right away, and it maintains the profitability. So, yeah.
And again, like this is if this would be of service to you, you can find the tutorial at IamWorkingSmart.com, and just scroll down through the courses that are there until you find one that says Selling Smart, which is what our daughter put together. So you can follow through on that if you want it. Jump in, or if not, if this doesn't serve you, it's no skin off of my neck, because it isn't mine to do. I'm just making sure she's compensated for the level of professionalism that she brought to the table. I mean, she way hit it out of the park for me. I am super thrilled, and for me, image is everything, and my personal branding is everything, and I want to make sure that I'm guiding the conversation with my my people. I want to guide that conversation. They need it, and I want to have it look like the level of professionalism that's important to me, because my relationships are at stake. So these are why I did all this, and if it can be of service to you all, fine. But again, I just feel like reiterating, because I just, Shaklee people are schizophrenic, and they go after the next shiny object, and this isn't that. This needs to be part of your strategy, that we need to think clearly, like, what is our strategy? That's what we're learning from our time with Richard. That's what we're learning, is how do we do this?
Well, and Charlene, I just think it's terrific, and Janelle's done a great job. If you want to see one that's still in the works, mine is partnershipwithnature.com, but I haven't got all the links and everything put together, but I'm so happy to have this as a part of my strategy, and again, focused on professionalism and retail and profitability. So
I'm seeing the questions, and I'll do it. So someone says, is this suggested for directors and above? And it's both. I think it's for anybody who's really serious. Like, I just was in Dallas the week before Thursday before Labor Day, did a big opportunity presentation with one of my people that are through the 90-day plan with all the people they've been inviting to take a look, and they were at a really great spot. So they came to the meeting to hear more about next steps about building the business, had a really great crowd, and out of that, there were several of them there. One of them came just kind of skeptical, but when he saw that this could be something that he could have his friends take a look at, he was like, he's a businessman, and he said, I wasn't 100% sure. I like the concept. I just couldn't see myself doing this, but when you showed me this, I can do this. So he's going to get his own site. And there were several others that are there that are not yet directors, but they're really serious about becoming that. Why wouldn't they just start branding themselves instead of me, or branding their director upline? So I think it's going to be whoever the person is. If they want to brand themselves and they're not quite a director, and they want to be the one that's on that film, like I would suggest that you get started on your own. But any director should have their own site. They shouldn't rely on their upline, because if the sale goes through, it's going to whoever is linked to the bank account. So if you're wanting to do this, you're going to get the money like immediately, and then you're going to get an email notification immediately, and you can take care of the customer. So then, yes, it said, would it be great to have a napkin presentation on it? That's going to go in the About Me section. I'm going to have my own 2-minute story, and then I'm having the How the Business Works, kind of a revised napkin presentation, expanding a little bit more on the concept of two who teach two, and then how you I feel like we rush over that part and we stick to $1,000 instead of letting people understand the power of asset income. So I'm going to go into a little bit more about the power of asset income, like I would like to have a conversation with somebody who I'm taking to have a look there. But if you choose to do this site, you would be doing your own if you don't want to use the one that I'm providing. So I'll have any of the films that we're doing, I'm happy to share with you so that you can start developing your own. Basically, you're developing your own in-home with your own people. So I think that's it. I answered all the questions.
Well, I know we're past time, and I want to thank Eugene for providing us a real live opportunity to see why and who a site like this and a presentation like this is important. And Charlene, I just think this is brilliant. And I'm so glad to be able to be working with Janelle and what she's done. She's a legitimate graphic artist. This is what she does professionally. And, of course, she's grown up in Shackley, so it's wonderful to have her expertise here. So I wanted to be able to introduce this. And, again, if what you're doing right now is working, please do not think, oh, my gosh, now there's something else I have to do. But if you feel like this fits a market for you and a place that you feel like you're going, then by all means take advantage of this. And so thank you, Charlene. And what I'll do, Scott, is turn this back over to you. If I will stay on, I'm sure Charlene will stay on for a couple of minutes if there's some questions that didn't show up in the chat that maybe people would like to ask or any comments or anything. And if not, thank you all for being here. We'll be back on our OPA call again next month. So, Scott, I'll turn it back over to you, and if there are questions you want to handle, people want to ask anything, then that's great.
Okay.
You there, Scott?
I saw his pop-up that said Scott left the meeting.
Oh, okay. Well, then I guess he can't unmute people. If he can't unmute people, then I guess we wish you have a happy evening. And if you've got questions, this call and this information will be posted on the OPA site, which is OPA.
We can unmute ourselves.
There you go.
Charlene, can we have the videos? Can we have the videos that you have on your site? Because not all of them are in the tutorial.
Yeah, Jana, I'm actually working on that. I'm going to do a Dropbox, share the Dropbox, and I'll put it on your tutorial. So anybody who's gotten it, I'll send you an email. That's on my list to do this week. So just put a placeholder, and then we'll get them in there. Just a second. Jan, just put a placeholder video in the spot, and then I'll get that to you because I'm creating a shared Dropbox that we can all just keep posting what we're doing so that people can pick and choose what they want to put on their own retail site. So
awesome. Thank you so much. It's great. I love it.
Hi, Charlene. This is Scott. I'm going to jump in for a second. A lot of the questions I'm hearing are things like, where's the site? What's the link? Just want everybody to know that links to all of the things that you've spoken about tonight will be posted along with this call at opastuff.org.
Perfect.
Thanks, Scott. And you can send them to iamworkingsmart.com, which is where the tutorial is for this. And to see Charlene's dot, you can go on to thegreenlightinitiative.com. And mine is not nearly as far along. I don't have as many of the links posted, but ours will be partnershipwithnature.com.
Yeah, so if you want to go, again, I am working smart, and what you're looking for is selling smart. That's the tutorial. And just to be clear, that what you're doing is you're getting the tutorial to build this website. You will be learning a skill on learning to do your own websites if you want to add pages or whatever, but you will be contracting with Squarespace, which is a web hosting site that Janelle explains all of that. So you will actually be building your own site. You own it. It's your domain name. It's all the things that you need. She goes over all of that. So all she's selling is the step-by-step tutorial for how to get it launched and the images and all of the assets, it's called in the business, so that all the images and all the things that you need are there so that you can quickly get up to market and get going. So I think, Alan, did I answer your question? I heard your voice.
Just the site.
The site for mine?
Yeah, did you say I am working smart?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
And if you want to see mine, I'll say it again. It's just you can go to thegreenlightinitiative.com. And then just how I plan on doing it is I have all of this. I created in my address book, I created a Greenlight Initiative like as a contact, and then I have all of the different. I'll create a tutorial on what I'm learning, but that I'll just post for everybody who's getting this so that you can hear what I'm learning. But I created a contact sheet, and then I've got on that contact, I have all the links for every page so that if I'm meeting someone, I can just open up the contact and say, just a second, let me send you something. And then I can copy paste without having to look at it and send them to Y. Shackley. And I can copy paste if I'm saying, take a look at me, that they can see that, so that what this is meant to be is a handy reference point with your phone, because most people want to come on a phone. They want to look at it. And I urge you to look at the Green Light Initiative and look at it on the phone. It looks fabulous. It looks great on the screen, but it really looks good on mobile. And that's how most people look at websites today.
I love it, Charlene. I love it.
Any other questions, guys?
Well, thanks
so much, Charlene. It's awesome.
Yeah, thanks for being here. And if this is
You're welcome.
ideas
and I hope it can serve you. If it serves you, that makes me happy, because if you grow, I grow, and I grow, you grow. And we're in this season where the faster we all learn how to duplicate, then we're all going to learn from each other, because the name of the game in our industry is duplicating and teaching people how to duplicate. And that's what I was after, was an easier methodology for my new people to grow faster.
And incidentally, the tutorial is excellent. And if it's not something you feel either inclined to take the time to do, or that's not your skill set, or you don't want to put your focus there, it's a great project for a grandkid, because it's very user-friendly. Or there are a couple of people in the field that we're working with that are just getting their own site that you may be able to reach out to and ask them if they would finish your site for you with the links that you have. But it's very user-friendly, and so it's just another skill we add to for our professionalism.
Yeah, and if you're really fast and you want to do it, you can, the link to get a hold, someone just put on the chat how to get a hold of Janelle, is she's got a link to her professional site, and you can hire her at like $350, and she does this in a day. I mean, she's got it done for you, because she's in Asia right now with her husband. So while you are sleeping, she can get it done, and you open it up in the morning, and it's pretty much done for you.
Pretty nice. All right, everyone, go have a very powerful day, and thanks to the heritage of OPA that allows us to be thinking this way. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Thanks, Scott, for hosting. Thanks, Charlene and Jean, for giving us great examples. See you all next month.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Evening.